So June is Gay Pride Month. It's also World Pride. I think if people are coming to New York and they're entering Greenwich Village, it's important for them to remember that this was a focal point for how our modern day civil rights struggle began for the LGBT community. Like, you have to look a little bit and dig for the information because all of the touch points are not necessarily here anymore.
And you thought I was worth saving, so you came and changed my life. You thought I was worth keeping.
I am Maria-Elena Grant. I'm an out lesbian of color, a university administrator. I am the chairperson for Lavender Light, the Black and People of All Colors Lesbian and Gay Gospel Choir. The choir is 34 years old, and I've been a member for 29 years. I feel like I do activism in my own way, and I try to make a difference anywhere that I can. If there's a place where I'm going to send people, it probably starts with the LGBT Community Services Center, and then they can figure out how to make their way around the village in New York after that.
Stonewall Inn.
And
Yeah, the Stonewall Inn.
The duplex actually used to not be here. It used to be on a different street further down, but they moved over here, and that's like an LGBT gathering spot and cabaret. And then this part, before the statues were here, this was when Unity Fellowship Church in Christ used to have revival, and then Lavender Light used to come up on this side, and the AIDS Vigil used to be led by somebody on a motorbike. And the thing I liked about the AIDS Vigil is that obviously it was reminding you that there wasn't a cure, right? That you still had to fight for a cure, but also there was something about taking to the street and having protest and being seen, you know, that I liked. And I don't know. And the Cubbyhole is an LGBT bar that I frequent when I want to have a drink with other people from my community. The Gay Pride Parade wasn't a parade, it was a march. It was like a civil disobedience, it was a demonstration. Yeah. The Cubbyhole speaks to me because when I come in here, it almost feels like the LGBT bar that Cheers would be, and it's not the only place. Henrietta Hudson's is in the neighborhood. If you're in Brooklyn, you could find yourself at Ginger's Bar. One of the things that the People of Color Steering Committee did is that the Gay Pride Parade, when it was the march, was also organized in such a way that at one time, all of the people of color organizations were last in the parade. So one of the things that I think has changed about the LGBT community in New York is that in some ways, because of gentrification, we have lost our center. There used to be a lot more businesses that were strictly for the gay community. It's like little by little, it got chipped away. Sometimes you can look at something in New York and say, I can't remember exactly what was there. But one thing that I'm always clear is gone, an artery. It's like an artery was cut in the gay community, was the closing of St. Vincent's Hospital. And when I think of St. Vincent's Hospital and I think about HIV and AIDS, you could go into St. Vincent's and you could say, I'm concerned about the health of my friends, but I'm also concerned about my own health, and you could be who you were without shame. Every time I pass that corner, I always remember that the hospital is not there every single time.
A lot of people don't know the history of what things like the pier meant to the LGBTQ community. You know, when you see things like Paris is Burning, and those guys voguing on the pier and stuff. We would go down there and bring, get something at the deli, a couple of beers, and sit on a real pier.
That was the spot.
Right.
That was the spot. They wanted to move into the West Village because it's cool, but then they didn't like the things that were actually made it cool.
That made it cool.
Became like annoyances.
It's like an ebb and flow that obviously for you as a businesswoman, it's good, right? But then sometimes it's a little bittersweet because, we want to make sure we're not losing what we had to fight for to get where we are. See, that's the piece when you have to say to people, you don't know the history of